Welcome to the Fresno County Pod Training Module for the Logistics section. As a member of the logistics team at a point of dispensing site, you have an important role in making the pod successful. Nothing happens in the pod without logistics getting there first. The logistics team is divided into resource management, staffing management, communications, IT, and facility maintenance. Since many logistics functions must be carried out simultaneously, the logistics section chief will need to delegate a good deal of authority. The resource management unit is tasked with keeping the rest of the pod sections working by staying ahead of them with material supplies. The staffing management unit has roughly the same task as it applies to people and services. Both groups are essential in every area of the pod to set up and staff physical workstations and keep them functioning. The Logistics Resource Management Unit is made up of the resource management staff, material and personnel, transportation coordinator, supply runners, and pharmaceutical supplies. Resource management is responsible for the pharmaceutical supplies. Pharmaceuticals require special treatment. Medications need to be tracked closely to comply with pharmacy laws and practices. Many of them also require refrigeration or temperature control. And of course, in an emergency, medications become even more valuable and require a certain amount of security. Since the pod revolves around dispensing medication, managing pharmaceutical supplies is a critical responsibility. The pod can continue to fulfill its mission if it temporarily runs low on any other supply, but not medication. The Resource Management Unit is also in charge of all other materials that make the pod work. They must receive, store, and stage a wide variety of supplies. Experts in inventory management are good people to have in the supplies group. The runners, of course, have the responsibility of safely getting the supplies from the staging area to the pod units. Another group in logistics is the Staffing Management Unit. They provide support in 3 areas: personnel, ID badging and just-in-time training, and food service. The Logistics Personnel Unit handles all staffing needs in coordination with planning. This may include checking staff in and out. Once people have signed in at the pod, they're given a vest, an ID, and a job action sheet. The personnel unit also handles training. Future shift staffing needs and demobilization should be coordinated with both planning and command. The communications and IT unit has the responsibility of setting up and making sure that pod communications and computer equipment are in place and functioning. This probably means a lot of batteries and recharging, as well as hardware, software, and connection troubleshooting. Communication is essential and not always easy to maintain. Fortunately, there are many communication options typically available, and the communications unit should make sure they always have a plan B. And unlike expendable supplies that make up much of the supply team's inventory, communications equipment needs to be signed out and returned. The food service unit has responsibility for the nutritional needs of the staff. Food and water breaks must be coordinated with the County EOC or Fresno County Department of Public Health, American Red Cross, or other agencies contracted to provide food and beverages. The Facility Maintenance Unit takes care of facility maintenance and housekeeping, and, depending on the length of the emergency, may be one of the most important services. Like all other units, logistics needs to keep an ICS Form 214 unit log. ICS Message Form 213 will also become particularly familiar, because that's how other units will communicate their requests, most of which will probably come to logistics. Logistics will also need to maintain inventories and receipts. Just as planning and operations go together, Finance is the record-keeping side of logistics. All inventory lists and receipts will need to be passed to the finance section. Pod security will be provided by law enforcement, supplemented by private security if needed. Law enforcement may play a major role in pod security or may not, depending on the event. They have developed security plans, traffic control plans, and emergency protocols. The security unit leader will meet with local law enforcement to coordinate pod security and obtain county security or private security guards through the Fresno County Department of Public Health DOC as needed. When the demobilization order comes to close down the pod, logistics will supervise the breakdown and repacking of all equipment and supplies. Logistics is then in charge of transporting and returning all equipment and supplies to their original readiness. And before the doors are closed, it's the logistics team who ensures that the facility is cleaned and returned to pre-event conditions. From the moment the decision is made to start a pod until the facility is returned to its pre-event status, the logistics team is working. The pod depends on you, and your continued good humor as well as service impacts everyone. Thanks for your extra effort. For more information, contact the Fresno County Department of Public Health Emergency Preparedness Program, fcdph.org. This video was produced in collaboration with Applied Creative Training, Inc., and made possible with the generous permission of the Alameda County Public Health Department, Office of Public Health Emergency Preparedness.